Hello students, today you have history lecture and we have already started lesson number 9 and the name of the lesson is Changing Life 1. So students, we will just revise what we have done last time in this chapter. Now what we have revised in this chapter, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar brought about many changes through the medium of Indian Constitution. Our constitution says that all Indians are equal before the law. Another significant change brought about after independence is a right to express opinion against the government. India was known all over the world as a country of joint families. So we have done institution of family, joint families, but globalization has given an impetus to the system of nuclear family. So we seen institution of family, all that we have discussed. According to the 1971 census, 22% people in India belong to scheduled caste and tribes. All this we have discussed in our previous lecture. In 1972, the first successful open heart surgery was performed under the leadership of Dr. N. Gopinath at Christian Medical College Hospital at Vellore in Tamil Nadu. Then we seen Dr. Pramod Sethi designed and manufactured artificial limbs, nose and ears with the help of the skilled craftsman Ramchandra Sharma. Then we seen about kidney transplant in 1971. Kidney transplant was successfully performed at the Christian Medical College Hospital at Vellore in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Johnny and Dr. Mohan Rao transplanted the kidney donated by a living person into the patient's body. In 1978, the support of test tube baby technology is available to childless couple. Then we also seen about immunization. The pulse polio immunization program started in 1995 was has controlled polio. So all these things we had revised in the previous chapter. So today we'll see about urbanization. Now in your textbook, page number 49, urbanization. Urbanization is a process of the concentration of population in a city or urban area. So what is urbanization? It is a concentration of population. Increasing population is one major reason for urbanization. So what is the main reason for urbanization? Increasing population. A few other factors affecting urbanization are air, water, and the economic as well as social organization necessary for community life. Means what? If population increases, we have different kinds of air pollution, then we have to face water shortage, all these thing problems arises. In the context of the post-independence India, the increase in urban population is also due to factors such as reduction in the mortality rate, industrialization, unavailability of means of livelihood in rural areas, job opportunities in cities, and the resulting migration. So what happens if population increases? We have to face all these problems. To reduce the strain on cities, it is necessary to make jobs available in village, achieve a balance in economic development, control the expansion of metros, and provide necessary services and facilities in both the urban as well as rural areas. So, if we want to reduce our population, all these benefits should be made available for people. Now, rural areas. A village is a permanent settlement of farmers near the land they themselves till, either individually or collectively. So, they are the permanent settlers who are staying in the village. Villages came into existence when farming began. Villages in India are thinly populated. Thinly populated means in villages the population is very less. A dense cluster of houses surrounded by farmland is a unique feature of the Indian village. So, a land which is surrounded by a farm. A settlement smaller than even a village is called a hamlet. Now, what is a hamlet? A settlement smaller, which is smaller than a village, is called a hamlet, where less number of people are staying. Compared to the urban community, the village community is very small. So to as compared to urban, the village community is very small. Villages are not uniform across India. There are differences based on regional and physical features. Post independence period. Now, what happened after independence? Keeping in mind the goal of rural development, the collective development scheme has come into force. Plans were made for improving farming. So what plan they came? They came with the plan of improving farming, technology, increasing the area of irrigated land. So irrigated land means what? Where land can be given continuous water facilities, extending educational facilities in villages, providing educational facilities, enacting the laws for land reform under this scheme. It also aimed at increasing agricultural produce as well as expanding the means of transport. So, in villages, plans were made for expanding the means of transport, health services, giving people a good health services, and scope for education and giving importance for education in rural areas. It was decided to give priority. Priority means what? To give importance to economic development in villages. The government undertook this work through the medium of Gram Panchayat. So, with the help of Gram Panchayat, all this work was carried out, which included the people from all caste and tribes. So, from every field, everybody was included in this scheme. To achieve this, the Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, and Zilla Parishad were empowered with more authority. So, all these people were given more authority that they should do something in rural areas. Changing economic life. Earlier, every village was economically self-sufficient. Every family was a self-sufficient family, means they had everything with them. A majority of the villages were dependent on farming, and most of them were dependent on farming. Farm produce used to be distributed among artisans as payment for their work. So, certain farm produce, what was produced on the farm, was given to artisans as a payment for their work. Now, this situation has changed. Rural areas are engaged in agriculture and occupation ancillary to farming with urban society is engaged in non-agricultural production and the service sector. So what the difference between rural and urban? Rural people are totally dependent on agriculture, whereas in urban society, people have got non-agricultural production. Rural development. In 1961, 82% of India's population resided in villages. In 1971, the percentage was 80.01%. So far, the rural areas had shouldered the responsibility of providing food grain and other raw materials to urban areas, supplying labor to the industrial sectors of the city, and taking care of natural resources. So all this thing, rural development, okay, providing good food grains, then taking care of industrial sectors is just because of rural development. There are three major challenges with reference to rural development, namely bringing about economic development, developing facilities to meet social needs, and finally bringing about a change of attitude in matters concerning society, culture, and ways of thinking. It is equally necessary to expedite irrigation projects and bring about land reforms. Why? Irrigation projects? Because sometimes there are no rains, and we urban people are totally dependent on agriculture. So lot of importance were given to agriculture irrigation projects. Social needs and facilities. It is necessary to give priority. Priority means what? To give importance to facilities for public hygiene and healthcare. Even today, the rural population faces problems related to year-round provisions of drinking water, toilets, open drainage, narrow roads. Narrow means very small roads. Inadequate electrification. There are no proper electric supply in rural areas. So all this importance should be given for them also, and lack of facilities for medical treatment, and how we have got in urban good doctors, good hospitals. The same thing is not there in rural areas. So better medical facilities should be given. There is a lack of good quality educational facilities from primary level to higher education. Centers for recreation. Recreation means, theaters, playground, how we have got in urban areas. Such facilities are not there in rural areas. And libraries. That is why it is necessary to give special attention to rural areas. The collective development scheme had an important place in all the first 4 5-year plans of the government of India. So all these plans were there. The state Maharashtra registered remarkable achievement under this scheme. For example, Jilla Parishad were established in 1962. Nutrition diet schemes were launched in 1970-71. The state also started a rural water supply scheme for sinking well. Sinking well means what? Where water from the wells were becoming less, and providing pipe water. And so they came with a proposal of providing pipe water to all the people who stay in rural areas. By 1971, 1677, small dams had also been built. I think this should be not 1677 but 1977. Now, rural electrification. You know what you mean by rural electrification? Providing them with electric supply. Electricity is essential for the development of rural areas. Automatic pumps are needed to water the fields. To water the fields, what you require? Automatic pumps. Electricity is needed to preserve perishable food items. Now, perishable means what? Food items which get easily spoiled. So, those to protect those food items, what you require? You require electricity. Food items such as milk, eggs, fruits, and vegetables. To run fertilizers project and for fans and TV and for lights for studying at night. During the first 5-year plan, electricity had been had been provided to 3,000 villages in India. By 1973, it reached 1,38,646 villages. So, electricity was provided to all the people who are staying in village areas. From 1966, it was decided to supply more electricity for pumps and borewells. Rural Electrification Corporation was established in 1969. Rural electrification cooperative societies came into being in the state of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Uttar Pradesh. So, all these places, especially in villages, electrification was provided. Industrial development. A village industry planning committee was formed to help the development of industry in rural areas. By 1972, 1,06,000 persons got employment under this scheme. So, job opportunities were also given in rural areas. The government of Maharashtra has also started residential high schools known as Vidya Niketan in Satara, Aurangabad, Nasik, and Chikaldara. So all schools were started in these particular places. Their purpose is to provide the best quality education to intelligent and meritorious village students living in unfavorable conditions. So, unfavorable means what? Where students are coming from very poor family. No proper transport is there to go to school, no electricity. So, so- uh, some conditions were there and those conditions were unfavorable for the students to travel. So some changes were brought in the village areas. As per the recommendation of the Kothari Commission, agricultural universities were also started at Rahuri, Akola, Prabhani and Dapoli in Maharashtra. So there are colleges which gives them education based on agricultural studies. In recognition of the work done in the field of education, UNESCO awarded its International Prize for the Spread of Literacy to Maharashtra in 1972. In this way, overcoming the obstacles, problems what was faced at the beginning of post-independence period, India began to develop and make progress. In the next chapter, we shall learn more about the development in other fields. And here they've given us difference between rural community and urban community. So just go through these differences. So hope so students, you have understood the lesson. I will send you the objectives. Please try to study them. Thank you students.